Stamptastical friends, I'm Jen from Stamptastical.com, and I wanted to thank you for spending time with me today. I also wanted to show you the techniques used to make this card. It uses several die cuts and stamp sets from the occasions and the annual catalog, which makes it a lot of fun. If you'd like a copy of the occasions or the annual catalog, just go to Stamptastical.com and click on the catalog and request a catalog and fill out your info, and I'll drop it in the mail to you. But for now, let's get started. Okay, so this project has a lot of techniques going on. We have some masking, we have some die cutting, we have some more die cutting, and some heat embossing. So I wanted to show a couple of the products that we will be using from the occasions catalog, which will take you until May 31st. This catalog is live until the end of May. On page 26, we're going to be using the Detailed Dragonflies dies. Now, this is a bundle, which means with a bundle there's typically a stamp set and a die cut that work very well together, and you can purchase the Dragonfly Dream stamp set, or you could purchase the Detailed Dragonfly Thinlits, but when you bundle them, you order them both and you save 10% off. So it's a great deal. So we will just be using the Detailed Dragonfly Thinlits from this catalog, and then we're also going to be using some of the paper, the designer series paper from the same occasions catalog, and it's on page 51. We're going to be using this Falling in Love designer series paper, which is just gorgeous, gorgeous. Okay, so the annual catalog, which runs from June 1 to May 31, so this June 1 will have a brand new catalog, and we're super excited about that. On page 46, we're going to be using the First Sight stamp set. So we're going to be using this floral branch image. This is one of my favorite stamp sets from this catalog. Listen to this. I have loved you, Mother, since I opened my eyes. Didn't that get you? Okay, and then we're also going to be using, this is another bundle you can get. We are using the Banners for You stamp set. So we're going to be using this banner image, and then we're going to be using the, where am I not seeing it on here? You Amaze Me. But you can also get a coordinating die cut that will allow you to cut out these banner images, and that is a bundle, so you would save 10% off if you ordered both. We will be using both in this project. So let's start on this project and talk about paper. Okay, to make this card, you're going to start with a card base that is 4 1/4 by 11, and you can score it at 5 1/2 and fold it down. So that's your card base, and then you can use crumb cake, and that is at 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. You're going to cut that one, and then we've got a Blushing Bride layer, and this is 4 by 5 1/4. And then our base here that we're going to be doing some masking, that is cut to 3 3/4 by 5. While you're cutting Whisper White, you also need just a little scrap for your banner here. So I just grabbed this piece of scrap paper. And to make your dragonfly, the back is the gold foil paper in the annual catalog. So I just cut like a 3 by 3 section to fit the background of the die. And then for the front of this dragonfly, I used another scrap from the Falling in Love designer series paper, about the same dimensions. One of the techniques I wanted to show you about this card is how I created the background. So what I did is I just took a piece of computer paper, and I did use my layering circles die cuts. I used the largest circle. I cut a piece of the computer paper to match the exact same size of my Whisper White, which is 3 1/4 by 5. And then I just placed the circle and ran it through the die cut machine. What this is going to do, and I'm going to demonstrate this in just a second, is when you lay the computer paper with the circle cut out over your cardstock, now you can fill up this circle with whatever image you want, and you don't have to worry about it getting messy and getting all over your card front, which is what we're going to do. Now, to hold this in place, I just grabbed a sticky note, and we'll just put that there and make sure that it doesn't come up. And I have my image from At First Sight right here, and we're going to be using some crumb cake ink. And this technique is really easy, but just takes a little thought about where you want to place your shape. And then we're going to ink up our stamp, get it nice and saturated. I tell you, sometimes when the stamp image is a little large, for me it's easier to do it this way. Okay, and you'll notice there's like a little swirl tail I tried to put that kind of towards the center, and you just stamp. It's okay to go over the edges because your cardstock is protected by this mask. So we're going to spin this a little bit. We're going to just keep stamping until we fill up that center. I can see that I got a little too close to the edges and not all the way, so I'll need to go back and fix that a little bit. It's okay if your center is feeling like it maybe is a little too dark or you've got too much pattern there, because that will be covered by your dragonfly. Now, if this went well, we'll pull this up, and voila. Now you've got your circle pattern stamped background on there. While we're stamping, we're going to go ahead and make this You Amaze Me banner, and we're going to be using a heat embossing technique. So I want to start with Stampin' Up makes a thing called an embossing buddy, and it basically is just this little bag of, I don't know, chalk or what, but it's really great because if you rub it over the cardstock or paper that you want to emboss, it really keeps the embossing powder from sticking from where you don't want it to attach. It gets rid of the oils and the static electricity, etc. So it will save you a ton of frustration if you just get that item. Alright, so we're going to start with the banner. We're going to be using some Versamark, and both the banner and the text are embossed. You could probably stamp the banner and the text and emboss at once, but because Versamark is clear, it can get really hard to see how well you're lining things up, so I tend to do it twice. But if you have better eyesight or a better method, you go right ahead. So we are going to die cut this, so it doesn't have to be perfectly centered on the paper. So let's stamp that. Let's take a look. I like to hold it up to the light. Okay, that's not too bad. So now we're going to get, you can use a folded sheet of computer paper. Stampin' Up has a tray you could use. I just grabbed a paper plate, and I've embossed on this before, so I would have probably run the embossing buddy over this as well. And I have some Stampin' Up's gold embossing powder, and we're just going to sprinkle it over there. The reason you would use, obviously, the paper plate or the folded paper or the tray is to catch your embossing powder, because what you don't use can be recycled back into your bottle or your container, which we're going to do in a second. I'm just going to put that aside, though, because I have a heat tool here. We're going to heat that up, and this is when the magic happens. So if you've never heat embossed before, I love it. It's one of my favorite techniques because the powder heats up and melts and then just becomes gold or what other color you may use. So it's a really neat way of making something metallic or just raised. Okay, so now I can really see where my banner is. So now I can do my text. So this is the You Amaze Me. I have to look, make sure I've got it right side up. Okay, You Amaze Me. And since I've already heat embossed, I can really tell where the text should go. I'm going to pull this down a little bit, so sorry if it's out of frame, but I'm going to make sure I have it done correctly. And that looks all right. Okay, so we're going to repeat this step. Looks like I got a little bit to the top. Just kind of flick the back to get the rest of the embossing powder. Let's heat emboss before it has a chance to cool down. And there you go. So then when you're done, you just get your little bottle that comes in. You use your folded piece of paper or paper plate or a tray, and you just tap it back in there. And you've got plenty of gold embossing powder to use in the future. So now on to die cutting. Alright, I have my die cut machine. Stampin' Up makes a Big Shot that is infinitely better than this, but this is the one I have until I can get the Stampin' Up one. So I like the magnetic platform. As the name implies, it's magnetic, so your dies stick, which can come really in handy when you're doing some very fine, I guess, die cutting where you really have to position things. Here's my gold foil paper, And here is my Falling in Love Designer Series paper, and then here's that embossed image. So let's go ahead and line up our dies. We've got the dragonfly, that's the word, base, I would call it, and then we have the intricate dragonfly image. So those are pretty easy to line up because it doesn't really matter. You're not trying to line up a stamped image. But remember, I was telling you about bundles and the beauty of how well they work together. So this die cut is made to work with the stamped images. And you'll find that quite a bit in Stampin' Up's products. Alright, so let's give it a crank. And shake everything up. There we go. Ah! Sorry, the camera's shaking. I'm moving everything. I think I was a little too excited about my cranking. Alright, let's see. And there is your dragonfly. Here is the banner. Okay, so this other dragonfly image is, I don't know if you can tell, it's very detailed. You see there's lots of cutout pieces, and Stampin' Up dies and their Big Shot, it works beautifully. But sometimes with some of these more ornate or detailed die cuts, I need to slow down and speak clearly, you can spend some time kind of poking through the holes and cutting out the pieces that need to pop out, and it can be a little time consuming. So Stampin' Up came out with this. So it's a piece of foam and this wire brush, and it is amazing because the foam just catches your paper so you don't have little bits of paper flying everywhere in your hair, all over the floor, etc. And you use this brush and you just go over your die cut image. The paper's still attached to the die cut. I'm sorry, the die for right now. But as you can see, in probably 2 seconds, I have saved myself quite a bit of time. And now I have a very ornate and beautiful dragonfly image. So I highly recommend getting this if you're going to be doing any kind of die cutting. Okay, so let's put this card together. So first you want to attach your Blushing Bride to your crumb cake cardstock. That looks about right. And let's attach that to our card base. Or vice versa, you could have done the crumb cake to the cardstock base, and then the Blushing Bride. For this card, the measurements do cover the entire card front. Sometimes you're going to have a border around there. I just liked it better this way. Okay, so we're not going to attach this layer yet because we're going to run some ribbon. Let's go ahead and put our dragonfly together. Now you could use some adhesive to do that. You can use Tombow glue. I like the 2-way glue pen simply because it dries clear, so it's kind of got a chisel tip, and you just kind of scooch it down, push the tip in to get some glue. The glue will come out and look a little blue, which is what I like about it, because then I can really see where it's going. Unless, there we go. And for this, I'm just gonna glue the body. I'm not worried if the wings pop up, but now I can see that I've got some adhesive on there and the lid's gonna fall off. And so we're just going to attach that and line that up. Wait a second, and now we have a dragonfly. Okay, so let's go ahead and let me move these so you can kind of see the card. Now we need to do the doily in the back. I don't know if you could see that before. I have a lace doily back here, right around there, and then we're going to do the ribbon. So Stampin' Up, these are one of my favorite things. Stampin' Up, it's just called lace doilies. And what's really clever is one side is Whisper White, which is the side we're going to use. The other side is Very Vanilla. So if you want to use that color cardstock, you can as well. And I mean, this goes with everything. So to save supplies, I just cut it in half. So I just took some scissors, clipped it. I will use the other half in another project. And I am going to just run a line of adhesive about 1 inch from the bottom. Now, I realize that this doily has holes in it, and so the adhesive might stick through. So you may want to think about that if you ever use it in a different project, but since I'm going to be running ribbon over it, it doesn't particularly matter in this case. Try not to glue my cardstock to my paper. Okay, so there we have that. Now for the ribbon, I used the burlap ribbon, and you're just going to run a string across there. You don't have to do a bow or anything. I'm just kind of measuring it. Clip that off. I realized also that I probably need to do a little more adhesive over the front. Let me see where I ran that string of adhesive so I can line that up. There it is. Okay. So we're just going to attach the ribbon like that. And then I also used Blushing Bride ribbon as well. So let's just measure off a section. It's going to get wrapped around and glued to the back, so I don't have to particularly worry about the fact that it's hanging over. So let's do another line of adhesive, or you could use your Tombow if that's what you're most comfortable with. For me, I just kind of lined it up to the top of the burlap ribbon. I just wanted some color and some texture. Boop. All right, there we go. So let's go ahead and attach those on the back before we finish up this card. So you're just going to run some adhesive on the back, bend those over, and voila. Okay, so let's go ahead and put our banner and our dragonfly on. For the dragonfly, I did just use, again, regular adhesive. You could use Tombow. I didn't particularly need or want, you know, a depth for this, so you can just align that on there. Now the banner, I did want it to pop up a little bit, so I'm going to use these Stampin' Dimensionals, which are fantastic. I cannot live without them. So you just pop them off the sheet. This is a brand new sheet, so I don't know if you can see how they're cut into these little hexagonal shapes. Okay, peel off the film. Now they're sticky, and we're just going to stick that right on our ribbon. We just want, oh, my ribbon's popping out. Just want a little depth. Now, the only thing we need to do now is attach this to our card front and do a little bling. By that I mean we're going to use some basic pearls and just fancy up our dragonfly. Okay, here are the pearls. Ah, I got it as a sticker on there. Okay, so as you can tell, these have been well used. That's okay, because what I need is still available in this pack. So I try never to run out of pearls or the basic rhinestones. Come on out. There we go. So we're actually going to use the largest pearl, and then we're going to use some of these teeny tiny baby ones. There's many tools you can use for this. I just grabbed this one. I mean, if I were younger and a little bit better with my hands, I'd just use my fingers. So we want a big pearl right there for the head, and then we're just going to decorate the back with about 3 teeny tiny baby pearls. Line those up. There we go. Kind of looks like buttons, doesn't it? And there you have it. We have a Dragonfly Dreams card. So I want to thank you for spending time with me today. I did want to tell you that you have until the end of March to qualify for free products in the Celebration catalog. Let me pull this out here. So I've shown you the annual catalog, which will take you to the end of May. And you have the Occasions catalog, which also will take you till the end of May. So you can order between now and May and get products out of this. Now, Celebration goes January through the end of March. So you only have about a couple more weeks. Why that matters is when you order from these two catalogs and you spend $50, you qualify for free products from the Celebration catalog. They actually came out with some additional products, some stamp sets and some glitter papers. So it's a really great opportunity for you, and I didn't want to let this video end without mentioning that in case you're interested in ordering. If you are welcome to go to my blog, and you can shop safely online 24/7 at, if you go to Stamptastical.com and click on the Shop Now button, you can order and have it shipped right to your home. In the meantime, again, thank you for spending time with I will have descriptions in the, I'll have instructions in the description of the video, and step-by-step a list of the products, as well on the blog post that is featured of this video. And I hope that you have a Stamptastical day. Thanks for watching.